Hey folks, it's probably been a year since I got my first Firefly, and I just ran into another. Those of you who've been with me for a while probably remember that first video I did about this model, the FF338 I think it is. It was a matte black, and I had nothing but praise for that guitar, considering it was $139 on Amazon at the time. And I did a video later comparing some Fireflies to IYV and Grote guitars, and my second assessment of Firefly was a little bit less enthusiastic due to some issues I had seen with the second batch of instruments that I set up. I recently just ran across this one, which is the gloss black version, so I've had a chance to reassess a little bit. And the price has gone up since those times. I think these are, closer to the 160, 170, 180 margin now than that original 139 cost, which was really quite a deal. And I have to say, with a little bit of setup, this one is pretty nice. So I still think they're a reasonable deal, and I can understand why people are enthusiastic about them, and I also understand why they sell out fast. This particular ES335 model seems to be very popular, and considering what these copies tend to cost, I have to say that Firefly and Grote have really sort of coined the market on the best deals for this style of guitar. However, when I line this guitar up with the recent IYV guitar, I know they're different, but they are semi-hollows with double humbuckers, rosewood necks. I have to say that I still think the quality is better on this. Now, granted, this is a $200 guitar. I think this is $195 on Amazon right now. So you're probably talking about $20 difference, but it's little stuff. I think the fretwork is better on these. I think the Destiny pickups on these, on the IYV Indian Vina guitars, are better. I think I have less issues with the necks on the IYVs. I've had a couple where I've had to do some truss rod cranking and all that, which is normal. But I've actually had issues on the Fireflies that would constitute a return for most people. I'm looking at the binding on this guitar. I like the binding with the purfled edges better. I like the pick guard situation better. Otherwise, I would say they're fairly close. I just think that these IYV guitars have slightly better attention to detail. I think the finish is better. I think the tuners are better. I think the headstock design is slightly, they're very, very similar, but slightly better. Otherwise, I'd say they're very contemporary. I think they're very close. There's not much to say about the difference between them. I do like the trapeze tailpiece on this, but those are just aesthetics. They're both good deals. They're both I don't know why I'm struggling to speak today. I taught 2 classes earlier online today, so I'm tired, I suppose. But I would say that the IYVs are slightly better, the quality's slightly better, the electronics are slightly better, but there's not a whole lot between them, particularly for this particular model. So I just thought to do another video on that, since I had another opportunity to visit these Fireflies. Yeah, I like this black gloss one. I like the matte black one I got before. I still think they're good value for the money. All bound, neck is bound, F-holes are bound. I don't like the top loading jack. I prefer the jack on the side, like it is on this particular IYV model. And I don't think the pickups are quite as good on these Firefly models, but most people buy them to mud them out anyway. Yeah, I think these are sort of both great bang for buck guitar. I think the IYV, even though the distribution on both of these guitars is really spotty for both companies, I think the IYV, or the Indian Vina guitars, get refreshed more often on Amazon. So you get more often these cropping up. There's probably 4 or 5 models on Amazon right now, and they seem to have refreshed recently. The Fireflies seem to have died back. I'm not sure what's going on with this company. They haven't really refreshed their garden guitar site that sells them direct. Hasn't really got any models, maybe 1 model. Everything else is sold out. So I'm not quite sure about the distribution on these, if they're going to stick around, if they're going to go away, if they're taking some time out to up their distribution and increase their production, or if it's just a run of guitars that has taken its course and it's going to, like a lot of these small companies, just sort of ebb away. There seems to be some more momentum with the IYV guitars. If you go on the IYV website, you can see that in Asian countries there are a lot more models available than there are to the American populace. However, there seems to be a fledgling IYV USA group that's emerging, looking to improve the distribution across the board for all their models. So I'll keep you updated on that as I learn about it. But as far as the Firefly goes, I'm not quite sure what their distribution's doing, or if they're going to improve their product count or availability, or if it's just going to sort of go away. I hope not, but anyway, there are some new thoughts on these 2 brands that I'm seeing a lot of videos cropping up on these, and on the Groats, and on some of the other budget brands like the Monoprice Indios. A lot of the people are catching on that this is the golden age of budget guitars, and they're much better made than they are 20-30 years ago. And with some setup and perhaps some modding, some of these make really fine guitars, and they really give you a value that some of the bigger companies don't. I mean, some of these bigger companies now, they don't offer anything in this price range. All their guitars are 700 plus. So it's good to have some of these companies come along and fill the gaps in the market, especially for entry-level players, or for people looking for bargains, or for people that only have a couple of $100 to spend on a guitar every once in a while, and are willing to do their own modding and upgrades and make good guitars out of them. I love these budget guitars. I love getting them. I love setting them up. I love making them better guitars than I found them. And I've got a few that I keep around. I move a lot on, but I've got a few that I keep around that make great guitars for recording projects and for playing. So I'm not a snob at all, as you know from those of you who watch my videos. I don't care where they're made. I don't care what country they're made. Every country has good and bad manufacturing. That's a fact. I just care about the value that you get for the price. And particularly on these, I don't see anything better at the moment. And this guitar is $200, and as I said in my last video, if it were $350, $400, I wouldn't bat an eye. These guitars here, I see people buying them and then reselling them for in that price range too. I don't know if they're getting it, but you know, I wouldn't be surprised if these came back out and they were $300. So you know, these guitars, you should jump on them while you can. You should learn to do some setup skills so that you can make them good guitars and you can buy with confidence. And it's a lot of fun. All right, folks, see you on the next one.